Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to start today's day by a quote which talks about the new beginning. Today, I close the door to the past, open the door to the future, take a deep breath, step on through and start a new chapter in my life. Cherishing those memorable and glorious 27 years of BHM and 2 years of BA in Culinary Arts, today we enter into yet another step of adding new family members. On behalf of whole WGSHA and Manipal family, I welcome the dignitaries, the parents, and the new batches. To embark on such a journey is to be done with a lot of thoughts and divine intervention. Abdul Kalam said, God, our creator, has stored within our minds and personalities great potential, strength, and ability. Prayer helps us tap and develop these powers. I would request all to remain seated for the invocation.
गणदैवताय गणाध्यक्षाय धीमहि गुणशरीराय गुणमण्डिताय गुणेशानाय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि.
A leader has the vision and conviction that a dream can be achieved. He inspires the power and energy to get it done. Ladies and gentlemen, we have in our midst an eminent personality who has 25 years of experience in hospitality industry. He is an alumni of IHM Pusa, New Delhi, has acquired postgraduate degree from IMI, Delhi, full-time in international management. During his working tenure, has also completed E-Cornell program in revenue management, hotel revenue management, and food service management. To add to his experience, he started his career as HET at ITC Welcome Group, followed with Sea Rock Rajputana, Umeed Bhavan Palace, the Grand New Delhi, and presently with ITC Welcome Group again. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Uday Sharma, General Manager, Fortune in Valley View. On behalf of WGSHA family, I welcome you, sir. It's a pleasure having you here with us. He would be the mentor and guide during the internal program, training program that you all have in your curriculum. I would request Mr. Uday Sharma to give the freshers an insight on the same. So,
Namaste and good morning. I welcome you all to the beginning of your orientation and the course. Congratulations to everyone for choosing this institute. And I wish you all the very best in your journey in the hospitality and the service sector. I would like to start with, with Dr. T.M.A. Pai, who envisioned this, the Manipal University. It began about 60 years ago. There was nothing on this land, and it is a very inspiring story. I would strongly recommend that if you have the, you could spend half an hour, there's a Smriti Bhavan here, and do go there. It tells you about his life and his vision and how he started this. He was actually supposed to be a doctor in Singapore, and then because of his mother wanted to establish at Mangalore on a big city, but his mother told him you should establish it at a place where there's nothing, and then you could serve the people. So there, in this place, there was nothing, and that's how his first machine, which was supposed to go to Singapore, where he was to establish his practice, got diverted to this place, to Mangalore. And I recently met a guest who's been here, who have been here for generations, and he said that in this land there was nothing at all. And that is how it's been developed over the last 60 years. So I welcome you again to this, to your starting of the program, to the students and the parents, of course, and wish you all the very best. What I will do is just take you on an overview of the hospitality or the hotel industry. Where we were 10 years ago, where we are now, and where we will be in the next 4 to 5 years, because 4 to 5 years is when you pass out, 3 to 4 years, and then you get on to the industry. So how the industry has grown and what are the exponential plans of the whole, the whole industry, the branded segment, various segments, but in the branded sector. Some number crunching, it's not going to be very detailed, but little bit to give you an overview of the sector. Just to let you know that in the next 5 years, 54,000 more rooms will be added, making it a total of 138,000 rooms in the organized or the branded sector. In the next 5 years, 54,000 rooms, and this is a conservative estimate. It is, discounting that a lot of plans are announced and then they get either delayed or do not, fructify. But on a conservative estimate, 138,000 rooms will be there in this, in the country, in the organized sector. Now, just to give you a little perspective, we are talking of 138,000 rooms. The city of Shanghai alone has about 46,000 rooms. So, so that's where the scope or the opportunity lies, or the growth potential lies for India and in the organized sector. The hotel industry, if from an economics point of view, would classify as a discretionary spend in some cases. Therefore, most economists say that in this industry, in case of a boom or a positive mood, the industry amongst all the sector benefits the most. In case of a downturn or a slowdown, amongst all the sector, it gets hit first. This is what economists would generally agree on. Therefore, experience shows that, let's say between 2002 and 2008, there was an exponential rise in the opportunities. And when I mean opportunities, I also mean the remuneration packages, what the hospitality professionals got or were offered in this sector. But the industry has withstood, and we expect in the next 4 to 5 years to again have a very strong positive outlook. This is the existing supply between 2006 to 2012 within various cities. Now, this is all the organized sector. And you would see that in the major cities, whether you look at Ahmedabad, Bengaluru, Chennai, Delhi, Gurgaon, and Delhi, Gurgaon is now divided into, the NCR is divided into Delhi, Gurgaon, Noida, and Gurgaon includes Manesar, and Noida would include Greater Noida. The Goa, Hyderabad. So these are the top 20 hotel brands in the country by existing inventory. The Taj Hotel and Resorts includes the Ginger, Vivanta, would lead, is number one in terms of the number of rooms, followed by ITC Hotels, includes Fortune Hotels. This is a little, we would increase the ITC numbers by another about 1,000 because the ITC Grand Chola has opened in Chennai, and another hotel been taken over in Delhi recently started last month, so 1,000 more in the last 6 months. And these are the branded sector. Now this is the proposed, this is the very interesting, because when you pass out in 2016 and 17 is where you would be starting your careers. So that's the proposed branded hotel rooms across major cities in the year 2016-17. You would see that across the board there is going to be a big growth. Look at Delhi, NCR, Noida. It's about 60-70% growth over rooms in the next 3 years. All cities, there are all either double-digit figures or 3-digit figures. There's not a single-digit figure here. And these are conservative estimates. And this is rooms, ladies and gentlemen. Food and beverage, of course, it becomes a part of the hotel services offered. Also, food and beverage becomes a standalone industry. As you know, that lot of standalone outlets, chains have been started and growing over the past 7 to 8 years. So opportunities and opportunities for starting your careers and also experience lies in those good branded food and beverage outlets, which are for people who want to, the culinary arts and the people who want to make the careers in food and beverage. So that's the level of growth that we are going to see in the next 3 to 5 year horizon. Hotel industry in terms of rooms over the last 10 years has grown by about 17% compounded growth. So that's been the increase in the inventory, 17% if you look at the last 10 years compounded. That's the growth of room supply in India in the next, it's a 15-year perspective from 2001 to 2016-17. We were about 25,000 rooms in 2001. We are at 84,000 or 86,000 right now. We are expected to grow to 1,38,000 in the next 4 years. And as I said, this data is a little conservative because taking into account some projects get delayed or are announced for and do not fructify. So, but this is what we conservatively estimated to reach. And as I said, Shanghai alone itself has about 46,000 branded rooms. So that's the various the revenues of the hotel industry grew exponentially from 2000 to about 2008. There was only 1 year in the last 16 years that the ARRs of the Indian industry dropped. That is 2008, 2009 dropped. The other, they have grown by about 15% every year. By ARR is the how much you would pay for a average room rate. Well, that's some number crunching. I work with ITC hotels We are, as I showed you, the second largest chain in the country today, are growing exponentially. For the Fortune brand, we have a vision of opening a hotel every 180 kilometers. In the last 5 years, it's the upscale and the mid segment which has grown higher than the luxury segment. The ITC hotels itself, as I told you, added the Grand Chola last year, October, and has just taken over another hotel on a franchisee, opened last month. We also talk about responsible luxury. One of the things that when we build hotels now, which we are building from the grassroots level, or are running them, are talking about responsible luxury, from the environment perspective and the CSR perspective. Now that only is now not initiative, but also a business necessity. By saving, let's say, energy cost, we could save cost by about 8 to 10% in the energy cost of the hotel itself. And we all know what is the cost of electricity, and every 6 months it goes up. Today, the cost of utility or electricity is one of the most top 3 costs in running a hotel. So therefore, also from a CSR perspective, an environment perspective, and a business perspective, we focus a lot on responsible luxury, on the environment, and how we do the sustainability factor. ITC is the only company in the world of its size and diversity to be carbon positive and water positive. That means what we take from the environment, we give it back more to the environment by recycling. And to be carbon positive. Recently, the Sensex or the BSE started the Environment Index. ITC is the number 1 company in that. So we're the only company of our size and diversity in the world to be water positive and carbon positive. So that's what, and I welcome you all again, and we will be interacting quite closely when you come one-to-one for training and otherwise. And best wishes for your future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing such valuable information and knowledge. It's quite an inspiration and motivation truly to know that the industry is growing with its full potential, and we all are part of it. As token of our appreciation, I would request our principal ma'am to present a small memento to sir. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are fortunate to have such an experienced leader and mentor whose guidance would be more prominent as you mature. She has over 3 decades of experience in hospitality education in India and overseas. She's worked in numerous positions in hotel management departments in the National Council for Hotel Management, Bengaluru. Subsequently moved on to the Institute of Hotel Management, Aurangabad, as HOD for Management Studies as an employee on deputation from the Indian Hotels Company Limited. In the year 2002, was employed in Bahrain as the academic dean and director studies as the Bahrain Institute of Hotel Management, now known as Bahrain Institute of Hotel Management. From 2005 to 2009, held the position of Vice Principal Academic Affairs and was responsible for quality assurance at IHMA. During the career span of 32 years of hospitality education, it's 37 now, of hospitality education, has attended many learning and developmental activities, which include an ILO fellowship to the Cornell University and the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Also certified as hospitality educator and hospitality trainer from the American Hotel and Lodging Association. Her primary areas of interest in teaching are in accommodation operations, services management, human resources management, business ethics, and strategic management. Has been research guide for undergraduate students of Hotel Management Studies. She's also interested in understanding the philosophies of adult learning and motivation. I would call upon our principal, Ms. Parvartavardhani Gopalakrishnan, to address the freshers.
Thank you, Joshna. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. First of all, welcome you all, the students primarily, and I'm really overwhelmed to see that parents are here in a time and days when most people do not have time. Time is the only thing that people don't find, and it is so overwhelming to see parents, and in some cases siblings, and in some cases grandparents. Welcome you all. I'm really very privileged to see all of you here with us today, and thank you for trusting us and seeking to put your word into this famous university. Some of the points that Mr. Sharma has already given to you on the origin and the story behind the legend, and then the rest has of course become history. And what makes history is each one of you who are seated here and who would walk through the thresholds of this college in the next 4 years. Keep it 4 years, all of you. And 3 years or 4 years, and as the chefs go for 3 years. And each one of you are going to be the pillars that this university stands for when it comes to the future. Because it's you as an alumni that's going to be responsible for the image of this place as you go ahead in your lives. To begin with, Mr. Sharma has already spoken to you about Dr. Teme Pai, and if we start talking about him, I'd need about 3 days of orientation perhaps. So Mr. Sharma very beautifully told you the origin 60 years ago, and the vision that he had, and when people could have rested peacefully with the huge packages from the medical profession, and it was such a struggle for him. The one story that I'd like to tell you, which very few know, and probably Mr. Sharma still hasn't heard it. Apparently in 1948 is when he ventured into schools. He started with schools. In fact, he started teaching some schools near his home where he found there were no teachers. So he was teaching free maths. And he decided to start schools, and then when the turmoil of Gandhi's death, etc. happened, Mahatma Gandhi's death, there was a delay in the processing, and so the school took a hold for some time, and then his Mahatma Gandhi memorial schools started. And apparently when he called it, named it Mahatma Gandhi Memorial School, he got notifications from Gandhi's son saying, "You cannot use my father's name." So he said, "Go ahead and do what you want. I'm going to use your father's name because he's a national figure and he's a martyr, so I'm going to use his name." Apparently there's still a court case that goes on that nobody bothers about anymore. So a couple of years later, in 1950s, he challenged Mahatma Gandhi's son by calling the hospital Kasturba Gandhi Hospital, and he told the son, "I'm calling the hospital your mother's name." And the story goes that he still filed another case, but the institutions have remained with the same names over 60 years. And so there goes a spirit of challenge, and you have to struggle. The elements of challenge and struggle happen, and especially people who lived during the partition or during the independence had huge systems of policymakers that were in so much of turmoil and not knowing how to go ahead. At a time and period where the education system in India was completely dominated by what the Britishers told us to do, and thankfully we still inherit some of their policies on education, which we still haven't managed to change in the way we look at things, because they were established by the British. 1986, for the first time in India, somewhere somebody sitting in Manipal had an idea that hotel management business has still been in a vocational domain and is being taught as a diploma. All of you from Dadar, etc. will know that the first hotel management college in 1957 was in Dadar. Miss Tangam Philip, everybody knows. And apparently it was started by a women's kind of a club who decided to do some cookery courses, etc. Till 1986, it remained in the vocational domain because you were still called vocationalist. You were not given that title of being management studies. So in 1986, a group of people sat here in this very place. If I'm not mistaken, the lady's name is, I think one of them is Matarani Matthias, who used to be the principal at Sarosh. Yeah? And they sat here and decided that it has to move on to a graduate domain. And so we started the graduation program in Manipal for the first time in the country. So this is the oldest BHM program in the entire country. We have no records of whether there's something in Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Indonesia as a degree. But if we do some research, probably we'll be the oldest degree in probably this Asian place, because even in those countries, it all remained in vocational spaces. And when it remains in vocational spaces, it's either a certificate or a diploma. So we were the first to get into a degree mode. And when we want to motivate you, apart from number crunching that Mr. Sharma enlightened us, and I was quite interested in digging in some of the data, and we select or choose a profession knowing that that particular profession is looking good. Because at the end of it, after 4 years, your parents are going to say ROI. So bankers here will know what is ROI. And I'm sure all parents know. And in literary terms, there is no ROI when you choose to be in a place that makes a difference. Because you cannot put that into a break-even calculation and say, I want this in 3 years or I want this in 5 years. Because there is no break-even calculation or value to what you would call a life skill or a survival skill or a professional skill that we're going to give you. We are not going to make you cooks and waiters and front office receptionists, and we're going to make you CEOs of companies. You got to have aspirations to be chairmen of companies. You got to have aspirations to be owning companies. You got to have aspirations to be giving jobs to a number of people because you want to start something on your own. Initially, yes, you'll all get into professions because you have to learn the ropes. And when you're learning the ropes, it's always good to learn it in somebody else's money. So when you want to learn the ropes, please do learn it in an organization that's willing to spend on you. So that will be your IHCL, ITC, Oberoi's, Leela's, Starwoods, Hilton's, Marriott's, and there are 40 branded organizations that will enter the country in a couple of years. And like Mr. Sharma said, IHCL, that is the Indian Hotels Company Limited, has 35% market share in India. ITC has 20% market share, and the rest of the hotels have the remaining. So 35-20, and then you look at the rest, that's 45, is the rest of the companies that is in India. IHCL, by virtue of it being, I don't think they were relatively old. I think they started in 1972, their first hotel. Oh no, I think 1905 was Taj Mahal, but the next hotel I came in Madras came only in Chennai came only in somewhere in 1970s. But was at the same time that ITC came up with Chola in Chennai, 1974. Because when I was a student, I trained summer training in Chola when it was just coming up, and I got 100 rupees for having worked for a month. And that was the only hotel. I don't know how many of you are from Chennai, but even if you are, I think all your parents are so young that I feel like a dinosaur, and I don't think you would recall Chola in 70s. It was the only hotel to have had a skating rink, and it's made history because no other hotel in the country till date has had a ice skating rink. And I used to be in the housekeeping department, and they used to ask us to go and check the rink. And it used to be, the minus temperatures, and we were given, a parrot green silk saris as a housekeeper, and we would be freezing. And then we said, why don't you give us sweaters also? Because to check the skating rink, it was so cold. So that is the kind of history that hotels have. And when Mr. Sharma was talking about the hotel sector in general, the hotel is a part of a larger segment. It's a very broad base. It's the service sector which we're talking about. And when we look at India technically has about 5.1 7 million foreign tourist arrivals.